Hi, I'm Renee, and in this tutorial I'm going to demonstrate my method for making gum paste lilacs. It's cutter free, you'll just need a few simple tools. To get started, we'll gather our tools or supplies, and you will need gum paste, whatever shade you choose. It's hard to tell, but this is a pale lilac or lavender color. I used Wilton Violet and just a touch to get the shade that I wanted. You want it nice and soft and pliable. You can use a little shortening to get that consistency. You'll need gum glue, a thin gauge wire. This is about a 28, cut into 1.5 to 2 inch strips or pieces. For the only cutting tool you will need is a small pointed pair of scissors. Several modeling tools. We'll use a medium ball tool. This is the medium out of a 3-piece set. You'll need a pointed tool of your choice. I prefer this purple one. I got it from the modeling clay aisle of my craft store, but anything like this pink one would work. And some kind of bladed tool. I'm just going to use this one, but you could use a thin spatula or palette knife as well. When we go to wire our flower together, you'll need a 20 gauge about wire and some floral tape. Let's get started. We'll take a pea-sized amount of gum paste, and if you need to work some shortening to make it nice and pliable, roll it into a ball on our palm. It's the hottest part of your hand, so it makes a nice smooth ball and buffs out any seams that you might have. Once we have a nice smooth ball, we're going to tape our two sides. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we'll end up with a little football shape. To make the bud, we'll take our football and our blade tool, and we're just going to score the top of it. I like to go up and over for the first one, and then the next one I don't like to go up and over again because I don't want to smush my nice score mark. So just starting at the top and down on one side, and then the same on the other side, up and down. There we go. And then score marks go about halfway down our little football. Oops. Then using our fingers, we'll roll about halfway down where those score marks end and form a throat, a skinny throat for our bud. At this point, take your wire dip it in your gum glue just to moisten it, not dripping. Just insert it up through the bottom of the bud, making sure it goes up a good way but not poking out the top. Pinch it closed at the bottom and then roll it again just to make a nice thin throat and adhere it on the inside. And there you have the bud. The next stage is the unopened flower. Again, we'll take a pea-sized amount and roll it in our palm to make a ball. Once we have a nice smooth ball, taper the sides to make our football shape. See? And then this time we're going to take our scissors and going about halfway down, we're going to cut across one tip of the football shape, and then we're going to cut each of those in half. And if you spread them out, you end up with 4 petals. At this point I like to roll it down a bit just to give me something to hold on to. And next we'll take our ball tool and starting at the base, wiggle it back and forth just to widen it a bit, and then using our finger as a brace, and we're going to roll out just to lengthen the petal, and go around it on all 4 petals and do the same. Out. And our last petal. They're not all going to be the same shape, and that's alright. You can just maneuver them however you like. And at this point, for the closed flower, I'm going to start at the top and pull down with my ball tool just to cup it in. It will help us shape it better. And once they're all cupped, we're going to just use our finger and just shape them up and over. You don't have to be completely closed as much or as little as you want. And for this one, we're also going to take an unhooked wire dipped in gum glue and thread it up through, oh, there we go, thread it up through the bottom of our flower. I'm going to go up a good distance, but make sure not to poke through the center. And just roll between our fingers to taper that down. You can pinch the bottom closed. If you feel like you have too long of a throat, you can just pinch it off from the bottom and pull it down the wire. And then just neaten things up a bit. And if it opened up a bit, you can just reclose it. And there we have our closed flower. And the final stage of this flower is the open blossom, of course. And to do that, we'll take our pea-sized amount. And as you go up, the bud is a bit smaller than the closed blossom, is a bit smaller than the open flower. So we'll take our bigger pea size and taper it to our football shape. There we go. Take our scissors again and snip, going about halfway down, and then cut those 2 into 4, and we have our 4 petals. At this point, I like to roll it just to give me a bit to hold on to again, and bracing against our finger, we're going to take our ball tool and do the same for the petals. We're going to start at the base and widen it, and then just roll it up just to thin the petal and lengthen it. And do the same for all 4. There, we have our 4 petals. And this time, instead of cupping them forward, I'm going to just use my fingers to bend the petals back a bit. At this point, with the open blossom, I take a pointed tool and go down through the center and just make an opening for the throat of the flower. Not too deep, but there you go. And now we're going to take a hooked wire, again the thin wire, and dip it in gum glue, and we're going to thread down through the throat. Down. I feel like it helps it keep the flower open, and the hook helps keep the flower from slipping. Because you want to pull it down a bit so that the wire is hidden down inside. Pinch the bottom closed, and use your fingers to roll the throat, form the throat. And there you have one little tiny blossom, one little tiny flower for your lilac. Now you need to make a ton of these to make a lilac branch. And once you think you have enough, make more, because it really takes a lot. Make a bunch of the buds, a bunch of the closed blossoms, and then we'll wire them together. Just to give the flower a bit more depth, I like to take a thin paintbrush and with some whatever petal dust of your choice, just to give it a bit of dimension. Just go down inside the little hole we made on our open blossom. Just a bit, not too much. And there we go. On the bud, you would shade it by just following the score marks that we made. Just a bit, just to define it a bit. Blow off any extra. That's not a really good view, but there we have it. And then we're going to wire our flower together. Taking our 20 gauge and some floral tape. This is my least favorite part of making flowers, is the floral tape. I have a hard time with it. But we'll start with a bud at the tip and just put it up against there. And just wrap them around to get it started. And then you'll add several buds around the tip, wrapping your floral tape at a diagonal. And once you have, I'm not going to do it because I don't have a bunch made up, but once you have enough of your buds, then you'll take your closed flowers and just bend them. When they're dry, you can bend them easy to whatever angle you like and wrap around. And then after your closed flowers, of course, goes your open flowers. You can make it as full or as sparse as you would like, just by how closely together and how many blossoms you add. But in the end, you'll end up with something about like this. And there you have it. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching.